How you doing, Charles? How you feeling today, man?
I'm doing great, Louis. How are you doing
Doing
today?
good, man. Great to have you. Welcome again to the UHS upload. We're going to be doing this all the time. Charles is a great friend of us here at UHS. We love the TopDon products. Let's go ahead and just hear from you, Charles. What you up to, man?
March is a packed month for us with events going all around. So if you're coming to any event, check us out. Stay tuned for a lot of new product. A lot of things are still in development stage right now, but we have a lot of exciting things coming out that right now at this moment I can't get into too many details about, but
Understandable.
uh, keep your eye out for Top Don. We're going to create some waves in the industry. Some exciting things for the automotive repair industry and for the locksmiths as well. We do have a new integrated tool that'll be coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that.
I know that I've heard a lot about your diagnostic stuff, but I have to assume that there's a lot more going on to TopDon than just that.
Oh, absolutely. Top Don, at Top Don, we're a technology company, and we focus on automotive test equipment. So we have everything from battery testers up to OE level diagnostic scan tools, and in the mix of that, we also have our locksmith focused tools for being able to do key programming.
When you say
So
OE, that's original engineering. Is that what that stands for?
original equipment
Equipment. Okay, like
is what
so.
that stands for.
What the
So we
actual?
have coverage for domestic, Asian, and European vehicles that's very comparable to what you might expect to see on the factory scan tool as far as diagnostics wise
Oh yeah, cool,
goes.
cool. Yeah,
So that's what we mean when we say OE level.
yeah, because I've had a couple of jobs where I get into it and I get just far enough into the entire work I'm doing, and then I hit a snag where basically the computer says I can't go any further without a dealer code or some kind of thing like that. Is that basically the level of like it goes up to as far as past the dealer codes?
Right. Well, I mean, every scan tool, the problem that we run into in the industry is the constant changing that the manufacturers are making and trying to keep up with all of that. So there's always going to be times when just one tool isn't enough. I think most professionals in the industry have realized that,
Hmm.
and they know that one tool is just not enough because of the constant changes. Because we may be up on a change that Ford's making,
Right.
while one of our competitors may be up on a change that GM's making. Just
Okay.
using those two as examples.
Right. I understand.
So they're all, and then you've also got to figure in that even though these are computers, they're designed by human beings, and sometimes we're not perfect, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
always want to be, we strive to be perfect, but we're not always perfect.
It's not normally the case.
And you'll find that even for the guys out there that deal specifically with nothing but OE tools, they'll find that there's software issues in those as well.
I didn't realize that there was a correlation between the locksmith business and the mechanic side of things, where the scanning tools need to be kept up to date and constantly updated in the same way that all the locksmith tools do, because they're constantly fighting against the mechanics and the people working on the cars to be able to be the only ones to work on them. Basically, servicing is what they want to keep anyone from doing besides themselves. That's basically how it goes.
That would be a fair statement,
Okay,
because at the end of the day, truthfully, the manufacturers don't want the customers that buy in the cars to take them anywhere but to them.
right, right.
So we're always working to provide our customers with the information and the knowledge that they need to be able to compete with the manufacturer.
Right, like the
Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, right? So
right. I understand completely. So, it's like the supplier for the pirate. You got to have somebody to help everybody get their job done. And everybody should have a right to fix their own stuff, really, at the end of the day. It shouldn't be insanely impossible to do it yourself if you want to, or to hire somebody around you to do for much cheaper than going to a
right,
manufacturer. So this is
right.
this is not a bad service. It's a great service, to be honest. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
So, and we're protected by the Right to Repair Act,
Good, great.
luckily,
Yeah, I've
so
heard about
that's
that a lot about
there.
that lately. So
Yeah, so there are some good things that come out of our government. So,
so so
just a little jab there,
I
but
got you. So when it comes to the actual services that Top End products provide, there's the diagnostics, right? And then I know you guys have your battery chargers as well as your battery jump starters. Um, Anything specific as far as the diagnostic side of things go that you think would be very beneficial to a locksmith right away?
oh, absolutely. So let's start. You mentioned battery chargers. We have a battery power supply that is critical to keep the voltage up on a vehicle whenever you're doing any type of long-term key on, engine off type of service, like programming a key.
Right.
On some of these cars, it takes a long time, and if that battery voltage drops too low, it
yes.
can cause a failure.
Oh, yes, it can.
So this is our Tornado 4000. You plug it in. This is one of our battery chargers. This is more of a maintainer, 4 peak amps. You can see it has a plug here on the end. It comes with an eyelet system so that you can make it more of a permanent connection. So you could hook this onto your battery, put this in a safe spot on the vehicle, and then whenever you pull up and get ready to need to charge it, you just plug this directly in for more of a temporary type of situation.
Like a quick connect adapter, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it would just plug in. They just plug in right here.
Okay, cool.
Depending on which system you want to use. I don't know how well you can see this, but if you can see the different types of batteries that we support. So the Tornado 4000 does 12 volt and 6 volt, whereas our Tornado 90,000 does 12 volt and 24 volt systems.
Okay.
So, but this does AGM, regular lead acid batteries, glass mat batteries, all of those types of batteries that you do. Including it includes a repair mode for those deep discharge batteries. So we'll move on to the next one. So this is the Tornado 90,000.
Ooh, that's huge.
Which is a 90 amp power supply that is programmable for the amount of voltage that you want and the amount of amperage that you want. So you're not overloading the battery system. You're just providing the power that's needed to complete that job. So it comes with a long set of cables to connect to the car, and this is the unit that you would mostly use. This is the unit that you would mostly use whenever you're doing that key on, engine off.
This one can also handle the completely dead engine as well, just like the previous jumper could.
This has a repair mode, absolutely. So it'll get in there. So,
and it also has the same ability to connect with that quick connector.
No, not this one. No, this one, just because of the amount of amperage that it puts out and things, it just uses the cables. Now, if you wanted to do something like that, that's a possibility because the cables are attached via a lug.
Okay.
You can see right here.
Okay. All right. So you could make like a semi-permanent connection that you could just.
Yeah, you'd have to get you some different set of cables.
Right. Okay.
They're not going to be included.
So
you basically just get some cables with eyelets on both ends if you want to do something like that.
So keep it self-monitored and metered to make sure it doesn't overpower it, no shortage of any sort. Okay.
Yes. It has a LCD display that shows all of that. Like I said, fully programmable, and it can also be used as a battery charger. But its main purpose is to be a stable power supply for key on, engine off processes that require an extended amount of time and can put a lot of drain on a battery.
And that's something that you would keep connected the entire time you're working on it, just as a backup to keep everything running steadily and correctly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then does it have like a monitoring system where it can let you know if the battery's going low? Like, does it have the ability to message you, any kind of connectivity like that? Anything?
Yeah. So there'll be some auditable beeps if the voltage does drop below what's programmed for some reason that you're not able to maintain, that the tool's not able to maintain that voltage that you've set on it. If there's some type of problem there, then it'll give you an audible alert, plus it'll display on the screen so that you can look into that and see why we're not able to do that. Because it could be that it's actually a bad battery. That would about be one of the main reasons you would see something like that, or some type of issue with the electrical wiring on the car.
To the battery itself. So if the battery starts to die or if your alternator starts to go, it automatically kicks in and gives you like a certain amount of time to keep going to safety and like that.
Like when you're driving, no, we don't have anything for that.
Just wondering.
So we don't really have anything like that. Now we do have our jump starters that are really designed. We've got a Jump Surge 1200 that provides 1200 peak amps. We have a Jump Surge 2000 that provides up to 2000 peak amps. And then we have coming out very soon, it'll be our Jump Surge 3000 that provides up to 3000 amps. That one is a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it to start some, big diesel
big
engines.
semi trucks,
12 volt.
the wreckers. That's really cool.
Yeah, so like a 10-liter diesel engine, that's as long as it's on a 12 volt system, it'll be able to do it. So.
All right, and they work well in cold temperature, hot temperature. They work. Everything works the same no matter where you are.
Yes, exactly. So this is our Jump Surge 2000. Okay. There's the case that it comes in. So as you can see, I'm going to lay this case down for a minute.
Super portable.
So I can show you this. Now this is going to be to jumpstart that car, right?
Right.
If you got a bad battery or battery that's gone low, show you a little bit about the features of this. It's got your indicator right here that indicates your power charge. If you press and hold that power button, it'll turn on the LED light that we have at the bottom. I don't want to turn it on right now because it will just kill our cameras. But on the side, on this side here, you have your input. It uses a USB-C cable to charge. And again, this one you can charge with 5 volts off of your computer or use a power adapter from a cell phone or something. Works great to charge it. You have a standard pigtail type output on this side so that you can plug in things that power off cigarette lighter type of adapter. And then at the top, you've got 2 USB outputs, a standard USB and a high output or QC quick charge output there. And then it has the place where you plug in your cables.
Does it have a USB-C out?
Yes, USB-C in.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so here's your jumper leads that come with it. You just plug them in right here. It's going to have your reverse polarity protection, all of that. So if you plug these up wrong, incorrect, the indicators for it are on the side. You have LED indicators. Let me raise that up some. You have LED indicators on the side. Cool. And if it's a battery that is based on what the indicator is doing, the LED indicator will indicate red if it sees a reverse connection.
Okay.
It'll be green if it sees a proper connection and the ability to jump start.
And
green LED is flashing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the green LED is flashing, it means the battery is extremely discharged and you'll need to hit the boost button.
Okay.
There's a boost button that you will use.
You do the full charge instead. Does it actually work if you have it connected wrong? Does it make it so it doesn't work at all?
It will not work at all.
Okay, so like
you'll just get the red LED.
So if even one of your cords is like malfunctioned or broken somehow, it won't give you a charge no matter what unless you have a complete connection.
Correct. A proper connection with the proper polarity. Exactly. So what they're designed to do is for the customer that's left the key on too long or left the headlights on and the battery's depleted low enough that it won't start.
Right.
But there's not actually a problem with the battery, or you haven't done something that's drained that battery all the way down to a critical
just
level.
enough to get you going, nothing to like you're not recharging, you're not like fully powering your battery from dead state. Like you're not trying to do that technically, right?
Correct.
So if you do have your battery in dead state, do you have anything to handle that situation?
Yeah, so then that would go back to our battery chargers, that T90,000 or one of our smaller battery chargers. We have a 30 amp T30,000. We have a 8 amp, which is the 8,000. And then we have all the way down to what a lot of people would call like a battery maintainer. That's a 1.2 amp. Depending on the size of the charger and the state of charge level on the battery is going to determine how long it might take to charge one up. For instance, if you've got a battery that's down, the state of charge on it is below 0, which is down below 11.8 volts or somewhere in that range. I don't have that in my head right now, but it's somewhere close to that. That the industry considers that a completely discharged battery.
Okay.
So anything below right around 11.5 volts, anything below that, the industry considers a completely discharged battery. So a battery that is that low with a little 1.2 amp maintainer
Hmm.
might take 24 or 48 hours, depending on how big that battery is to charge.
Okay.
Then you get into the 30 amp charger or our 90 amp charger. It's going to be able to charge it at a much faster rate, and so that the customer can get back on the road sooner. But we do have protection built into those, so when you start thinking about the old what we would call the old school stuff, that you just turn on the battery charger and it forces
Right. Some charge
high
into the
amperage,
battery.
high voltage into the system.
Right.
Our system has a smart board in it that does the processing and uh, maintains a steady charge rate without uh, overcharging the battery and getting it too hot and things like that.
Okay. Cool.
That would ultimately cut down on the life of that battery.
Right. So it's got like a temperature controller, everything like that, to make sure everything's going to run correctly
Well,
and smart.
the T90,000 does. It has a
Okay.
temperature probe, so it goes takes it to the next level and actually monitors the physical temperature of the battery.
All right. So make sure everything's running correctly. You're not going to blow anything up, and you're doing the best choices.
Right.
All right. Cool.
So with the smaller units, we're doing it with constantly just monitoring the state of the battery and using programs, algorithms to determine if the battery might be getting too hot, and then if that's the case, they'll cut down on the voltage.
All right. And they also have like an auto shut off function, I'm sure, as well, to make sure nothing overheats.
Well, what we have is actually, I think, better than an auto shut off. What we have is once it reaches that 100% state of charge, it cuts off the amount that it's charging, but the tool will stay on and monitor that battery. So that if you've got something that's stored long term,
Right.
if that voltage starts to drop again, it'll start charging again.
Cool.
and keep it up there so that vehicle is ready, whenever you are. So
Okay. And can these chargers also be used to charge your tools or any other electronics you have on you at the time, like kind of generator style, anything like that you could do with them?
now they're strictly for automotive
Okay.
automotive batteries.
And
So,
they are self-charging. They have their own batteries included as well. Like they have their own lithium-ion power sources, right?
well, the battery chargers
Oh,
are going
chargers
to
need to be
plug
plugged
into AC.
Okay. And
They're
there needs
going
to
to plug
be
into AC.
120 volts.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the jump starters,
Mhm.
yes, they have a lithium phosphate batteries in those. They're a
Okay.
little bit safer than lithium
I
ion.
understand. Okay. Cool.
So we have those batteries in those, and of course, yes, they can charge via USB. And the technology that we have in them, even though it's putting out 12 volts,
Mhm.
you can charge them from a USB port on your computer.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So they can put it the
It
full
takes
charge.
a little longer to charge it, but
Right.
you can charge them from a 5-volt USB port. So
And
that's
what about
pretty,
like the smart charge cords that they use for like, the Samsungs that like help charge it faster? Like if you have a
Yes.
larger charger. Okay. Cool. Do
Yes.
you have anything for like electric vehicles? Anything to charge Teslas? Anything like that? If you're an electronic vehicle driver by chance?
It's funny you mentioned that. We're having a meeting about that. Our product team is starting to work on that, so be on the lookout for some stuff for the EV
Yeah,
vehicles.
because I could imagine if there was a battery backup in your car while you're driving somewhere, that's like got to be beyond the point of very helpful to the whole drive.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So then, okay, so then let's settle on the actual diagnostics tools themselves. I know
Okay.
I know that you have your Phoenix line, the
Yes.
Lite, the Pro. Any other specific models you want to like mention? Get on. I'll
Yeah.
try to
So what
understand.
I'd like to talk about today, I think, is our newer models. The Phoenix Lite and the Phoenix Pro have been around. They're established, so we can talk about the newer models that we have: the Phoenix Plus, the Phoenix Elite, and the Phoenix Smart. They're on our new platform, so they bring a little bit more horsepower, so to speak, to it. So let's talk about why would a locksmith even want a full-blown scan tool, right? So what we see is that sometimes customers aren't 100% forthcoming with what's going on with a car.
Right.
And sometimes our locksmiths get put in some precarious situations where customers called them and said, I've lost my key.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get there, you find out, well, there's more to that story.
Okay.
So you've got a car that won't start. You've got all kinds of different things that may have happened. So you need a scan tool to be able to interrogate that anti-theft system,
right,
and make sure that anti-theft system is functioning properly. Because if it's not functioning properly, you're not going to be able to program a key to it.
I understand that. Okay, so like if the alarm is active, or if there's some kind of state that the car is in where you're not able to tell when you first get there, it's best to have a scan tool on hand so you can check it out, see what all kinds of errors are possibly live at the moment before you start your work. Okay, so it's just a way to make sure that when you go to do your work, you're saving time and not spending time looking for the problem, that you can find it right away.
Right.
Okay.
So you can take one of our professional tools, our Phoenix line tools. You can connect to that vehicle and you can run a health report, and that health report will test every computer on that car and come back with the results and let you know if there's any codes in the system. And then also you can go into that anti-theft system and do some functional tests, bi-directional controls to confirm the integrity of that system.
And from there,
a lot of the calls that we get into our support team are calls that ultimately end up being that there's something else wrong with the system other than just a key.
Right.
We get those calls every day that a key won't program, and then we do our due diligence to find out what's going on, and come to find out that it's got an aftermarket remote start system that's interfering with the key programming.
They're able to look that deep into the system to see like a new item has been installed that wasn't originally placed in the system.
On some cars, it's going to depend on the car itself,
okay,
on how well that car system is doing, monitoring everything on the car. Sometimes in an issue like that with a remote start or a remote shutdown where a car's been bought, from a car lot that does their own financing, right. A lot of those car lots will put on GPS trackers and things that can remotely shut down that car, and all of those types of things will interfere with programming keys.
Okay.
Little things that sometimes a lot of people, especially locksmiths, that their real background is commercial and residential locksmithing, and now they're getting into
automotive,
the key,
right.
and getting into the automotive, right? And some of the things that you don't think about that will cause a failure are really kind of amusing at some points. A kid could leave an iPad in the back seat. That'll cause one that can cause one to not program.
Like the RF kind of a signal could be throwing you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, RF signal, Bluetooth, any of those types of things can cause problems. Your cell phone. There's a lot of cars out there, and it's just a good practice to not have your cell phone or a wireless phone in the car while you're doing that programming, and make sure once the car's read the original key, if you're just adding a key, make sure that when you get ready to add that key, you either put that other key in a Faraday bag or get it out of the car so that it doesn't interfere with that process. Those little things like that really can cause some issues.
A Faraday bag that's like a RFID blocker bag. Okay, I understand. Yeah. Right. So then when all this boils down to the way things could work or could be bettered for people, what kind of codes would you say are common or could be easily found or understood to be looked out for that a scan tool will find that more than likely you would be able to find by eye? Beyond, I know that if a part was replaced incorrectly or if there's a mistaken wiring going on somewhere, I would hope that the scan tool will be able to see that your sensor is off and therefore it needs to be fixed. But any other specific codes that you can think of that are like very common that people aren't usually thinking of when it comes to
actual code numbers? There's so many different ones and that vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. I can't really pop up a code number, but you'll see they'll a lot of times if the system is you'll be able to see real quick if the system is active, where it's actively in anti-theft mode, and you'll need to see what's going on there. You'll see codes for the clock spring in the steering wheel that will cause problems on those cars that still have an ignition switch actually in the steering column, right? So those are the types of things that you'll see. You'll see codes for the transmitters, and sometimes those systems may have a problem and may not present a code. So then that's when having the ability to go in there and do what we call bi-directional testing. So some commands. Let's do some functional testing and see let's confirm this. And a lot of times you won't go into that step if you do your basic health test and everything tests good. And then you go to program a key and you have some type of anomaly, some type of problem where it doesn't go. Then you may want to go in there and do some more investigative testing before you just automatically say, "Oh, my tool's not working right,"
Right.
or "I've got a defective key," or something like that.
Right. Is there any way to actually check, like, if there are rogue RFID signals, or if you do have some kind of a block happening between the actual key signal? Is there any way to actually scan locally or sniff out any rogue signals by chance with these devices?
No, we don't have anything that sophisticated at this time. Now, some of our TPMS tools and things like that can test whether something's putting out an RFID signal, the proper signal. Um, something that some people may not be aware of is that the TPMS system and the key system will a lot of times use the same transmitter inside the vehicle, so they'll be on the same frequency and things like that,
Just,
which is a
just real
good
quick,
thing.
can you just explain what the TPMS system is for anybody who might not be aware?
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I use
You're a pro, man.
I
You're a
use
pro.
acronyms a lot. So TPMS is tire pressure monitoring system.
Okay.
So that's the system on the car that has the sensors in the wheels that tells the computer what the tire pressure is, tire temperature, all of that type of stuff. So those are running on those use frequency RFID, just like your remotes and your smart keys. So whatever frequency that's on is the same frequency the keys will be on, and a lot of times they'll share the same transmitter to provide that information to the different modules in the car. For instance, if you've got one that's 433 megahertz, let's say you want to test a key that you got, because possibly they've got their own transmitter in that key and you're not 100% sure on what frequency it is. If you've got a scan tool that can read the TPMS system, you can read what frequency it is and you'll know what frequency the keys are.
All right, so you can start from there.
So then you can take your RFID tester and test that replacement key and see what frequency it's transmitting.
Okay. And then that's all very helpful and very useful. So thank you for all that explanation.
Absolutely.
Any other specific things about the scan tools, or like the Phoenix Pro units, or any of the new Phoenix units that are coming out, that you want to clarify or specify as being very, very helpful to a locksmith before we move on?
Well, we just got different BCIs that we've come out with that kind of separate the tools from each other. So we can different levels that you need, whether it's just basic diagnostics or you want to get into coding and programming, which those things a lot of times are more for the automotive professional. That's all they do is automotive. But I know a lot of locksmiths are getting into more and more of that because it is a very very profitable avenue. So it could be a good revenue stream.
Does VCI in general, you think?
Yeah, so VCI stands for Vehicle Communication Interface. So I'll show you. So like with our Phoenix Plus, we use a Bluetooth dongle that's compact, and it gives you the ability to do all of the functions that we've talked about during our discussion here. Then you get into our Phoenix Elite, and we have an upgraded VCI that includes what's called CAN FD. So CAN FD is a new protocol that the newer cars, some of the newer cars are talking on. So with the Phoenix Plus, if you run into those, you need a CAN FD adapter to be able to communicate with
It's like
those.
some of your newer GM models, and
Yes,
which
and
other models? Because like I know that GM does it. I'm sure that Ford must probably do it as well. It's like American-made vehicles mostly.
mostly, yes, yes. At this time,
Okay.
you know, we don't know how that might change going into the future. But they're constantly changing protocols because systems are getting more integrated. They're adding to the systems, so there's more load on them, and they need stuff to handle more bandwidth. That's really what CAN FD and stuff is all about, is increasing the bandwidth. Um, so
Is that like moving into more of like the 5G side of connectivity within vehicles, the CAN-FD modules?
yes, yes, you could look at it similar to 5G.
Okay,
So
so it's like a interconnectivity between the vehicles and ability for them to discuss with each other, basically for safety reasons, like almost like self-driving additional stuff, like that kind of thing.
yes, you'll see more and more of that as we get into these more self-driving cars, where the cars are constantly communicating between themselves and not using uh, towers and things like that.
So
So,
it's like proximity based signaling.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
right.
So then you have on our Phoenix Smart, the VCI that we have for it. You can tell it's much bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to add the ability for J2534, which is one of the programming protocols. This also has RP1210 in it, which is for heavy duty vehicles. I don't know how much that would apply to your locksmiths
You never know
that are
until you know.
watching this, but you never know.
Right.
Um, so this is going to be the cat daddy, and going into the future, we're going to be able to do the next level of remote support. So with if you have this tool, uh, in addition to phone and being able to just remote into the tool and kind of see what the customer's seeing, we'll be able to do even some more advanced stuff with that, and we can have a whole separate meeting on that. So
It's pretty cool, I gotta tell you.
so okay, so now let me talk a little bit about some of our scan tools. Um, so we'll start with the uh, Phoenix or Phoenix Lite, like you mentioned earlier. So this is the Phoenix Lite. It's kind of a compact unit, 7-inch viewable screen. Has a little handle on the back where you can put your hand in there and hold it. Has a holster for the VCI.
That's cool.
So this is the communication dongle, VCI, vehicle communication interface, that you would plug into the car.
That's cool that it's inside of it. That's really a cool feature.
A lot of people like that, especially if you're space oriented and
Right.
need some extra space. The next one of our legacy line of tools.
Actually, before we move on, that VCI itself, it's a wireless VCI. Does it charge when you plug in the actual unit itself, like when you have it in that slot?
Doesn't need to charge.
Oh,
it's going to power up off of the car.
Okay.
So
okay.
on the 16 pin connector on the car, pins 4 and 5 are your grounds, and pin 16 is power.
Mm-hmm.
So those are going to power that VCI or vehicle communication interface up. And so if you run into an issue where the VCI does not power up, it's good to know those pin numbers that I just gave you, so that you can check for ground and power, right? Because a lot of times you might have a blown fuse if the VCI doesn't power up. So this is our Phoenix Pro. It's got the 12-inch screen.
The Big Daddy.
Has the kickstand in the back, so it's adjustable. Some people will hang it off the steering wheel or
that's
whatever.
Pretty nice. That's a cool feature.
So these two tools that we just listed are kind of our legacy tools, right?
Okay.
So you get into our second generation tools. You get into our Phoenix Plus. So I've actually got this one powered up. I don't know So the Phoenix Plus this is a 10-inch screen, so it's more compact. It's kind of in between those two that we just looked at.
Mhm.
So it's more compact, and the other two I'm going to show you also have a 10-inch screen. Um, so these have a different user interface or
Right.
look than what the Phoenix Pro and the Phoenix have.
Okay.
Um,
This is a newer model, correct?
this is the newer model. Yes,
Okay. And
this is the second generation.
would you say this is a little more compact, a little more user friendly? The other ones are about the same in terms of their user friendly.
They're all very. I think they're all very user friendly. They just like any other tool, it takes a little bit of getting familiar with it.
Right.
But once you're familiar with it, you can go through it real well. So some of the features that we have, since I have this one turned on to show you, some of the features that we have are our feedback feature. So all of our professional line tools do what's called logging. So they automatically log what's happening, the communication between the tool and the vehicle. So if you run into any issues that you need our support team to dig into, you can send in those logs through our feedback button.
Is it just like a text log of what you've done, like a key log?
Yeah, so it's all engineering data, so it's not really stuff that you
Okay.
can see, but I can kind of show you here. We can hit this feedback button, and it's going to tell you that, hey, I keep the last 20 sessions. So that could be 20 sessions on one car or 20 different cars, right? So we can go in here and we can select it, and we can tell what kind of inquiry we're trying to make. What we want to look at. So you would just select up here, you choose your log, and you'd select your log and hit OK, and then it's going to pull up that information for you. And you can put in all of your details and send it, and it goes straight to our product team.
And do you guys have any kind of remote assistance or any way of like clocking in to check out what's going on the device while it's being used by a technician?
Yeah. So that would be through this button over here. It says Remote Diagnosis.
Okay. All right.
So if you call into our tech support team and it becomes apparent that we need to be able to remote into the tool to see something, we do have that ability. Of course, obviously the tool's got to be on the internet.
Right.
So your mobile locksmiths are going to have some type of a mobile hotspot.
Usually they do. Most of the time they do have a hotspot of some sort. Usually most of the things require that. So, would you say that there's any kind of like a agreement or a yearly contract that has to be done, or authorizations have to be done for any of these machines to keep them running and doing all the features they need each year, or?
Okay, so with our Phoenix line of tools, they all will come with 2 years of updates.
Okay.
You get 2 years of updates on the front end. They're all none of our tools are subscription based.
Okay.
Meaning, if your subscription runs out, the tool will continue to work.
Okay.
Now there are some functions that require you to have the most current software for those functions to work.
Right, so you can update now, not update for a couple of years. It'll still work fine the whole time, but you may not be able to program newer vehicles.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Correct. So there are some things that will require that, but yes, that's one of the unique advantages that we have is the ability for a customer, because we understand that you're going to have multiple tools. And keeping subscriptions current can be very cost prohibitive. So it's always good to have the option to say, well, I want to update this tool this year, and I'm going to wait a year on this one, or vice versa, whatever. So we give you that flexibility.
And what do the updates run post 2 years?
It depends on which level of tool you get, but in the $400 to $700 range.
Okay, so it's like yearly amounts for different types of services depending on your range.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is going to give you. Our subscription is for all of the car lines that we cover, which is over 200 now. Lots of car lines that you won't even see in America, but we have coverage for them. So whenever you buy a subscription for our update service, you're going to be able to update all of those car lines for 365 days.
Okay. How about now?
I got you now.
Okay. If you got things you have to do today, let me know. I don't want to hold you up all day doing this. If you got like stuff you got to pack or whatever, so let me know.
No, I've got lots of stuff. I got a doctor's appointment here in a little bit. So.
Okay, so let me. How much longer do you have? If you want to rush through a couple of things, we can try to compact a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think we got. Depends on how much time you want to take after we get through with the tools.
I mean, I shouldn't need too much more. It's just this was a couple of topics that need to be hit. So I mean, I don't want. I'm not saying that you're taking on. You're doing great. I just want to hold you up anyway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit the Elite, and then it's gonna go into the.
We'll do the Elite and then the Smart. We'll spend a couple minutes on each one, and then we'll go to the Ninja.
Whatever amount of time you need to take is what you've got. That's all I want to care about.
Okay.
That's all. So,
okay.
Thanks, man.
All right. So here is our Phoenix Elite. There we go. Phoenix Elite. Again, kickstand. All of our full-size tools have the kickstand so that you can stand it on your bench or you can hang it, whatever you want to do.
This is the second to most high-tech version of the Phoenix tools themselves. Like this is the.
This would be the natural progression from the Phoenix Plus that I've just showed you. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the one that uses this VCI with the CAN FD integrated into the VCI module.
Okay.
So again, we have the support. All of our Phoenix tools for your repair shops that are watching this can have ADAS capability. So you can add ADAS to these, which ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. So that's the little yellow light that comes on in your mirror, or lane keep assist, or adaptive cruise control, those types of things. That's what ADAS is, mm-hmm. And that is that's what's going to allow these cars to be self-driving. So I know you've seen.
I mean, I checked out your ADAS system one time. It's a really complicated system to set up unless you know exactly what you're doing. Like, it's a lot of balancing and placement and distancing and stuff, and I could see how that might be a little difficult unless you're really versed, which is where you guys would come in with a little bit of assistance at times like that as well.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, we offer training on ADAS equipment and stuff, so we can do all of that kind of stuff.
But that's also the future of vehicles at this time.
That's yes. Okay. Yes. So a lot of people don't really think about it, but you know, when you start talking about advanced driver assistance, which is what the ADAS system is, well, ADAS really has been around for a long time because analog brakes are a form of driver assistance.
Okay.
So they've been around a long time. It's just it's advanced very quickly in the last few years.
And now they're more computer controlled than they used to be, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just integrated into more systems. Like I said, with adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitors, forward-facing cameras, rear collision warning systems, all of that kind of stuff. And those are the things, like I said, that's going to allow the car to self-drive. For instance, GM just announced their system they call Super Cruise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's being done through the ADAS system. It's using a motor on the power steering to steer the wheels. It's using adaptive cruise control to keep the distance from the next vehicle. All of that kind of stuff. So that's the future. That's where we're headed.
They made a system that can handle
turning back.
They made a system that can handle your speed, distance, and change lanes for you.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. We're there. Can it see lights?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's no turning back now. So that's where we're headed. Okay. So this is our Smart. Mm-hmm. Visually, it looks very similar to the Elite, except you'll see the blue bezel.
Right.
I don't know if you can see it in
this
video.
Smart, right? I can kind of see it's pretty. Can you back it up a little bit? I think it's picking up most of the light from the screen itself. We can see it there. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I can see the blue bezel now.
Okay, great. So you'll see the blue bezel, and this uses the larger VCI that includes the J2534 communication.
Okay.
And has all of the features. Screen went out. It went to sleep. So this is our most advanced unit currently to date. So it is going to have the higher capability as far as programming cars, programming computers, and things like that. Now, when I'm talking about programming that in that respect, I'm talking about the engine controller, the transmission controller, all of the different modules. I'm not talking about key programming specifically. Okay?
I gotcha.
All right. So, and then the Ninja 1000 is our key programming tool. That's all it does really is program keys. It does everything through the OBDII port. It doesn't require an internet connection, doesn't use any tokens. It has comes with 1 year of updates. After that, if you don't update, you can still program as many keys as you want.
Okay, cool.
Anything that it covers, right?
And it handles American, domestic, domestic and European, Asian, everything it can do.
Okay, so because of the way this does it and the differences in the protocols on the European cars, it doesn't do many Europeans. And we do have some European coverage in here, but it's mainly domestic and Asian.
Okay.
Is the market for this particular tool. We do have a next generation tool coming out later this year that will add some of that European coverage, expand on that. So this tool is a very great price point.
Right.
So it's great as a secondary tool for your locksmith. It's great for
starters, for first time purchasers, like beginner locksmiths. It's a great price point in general.
Great tool for that too. A lot of locksmiths have a lot of tools that have those token based or per use fees.
Right.
So even if they have a tool that is token based that works great on a particular vehicle, but they do a lot of those vehicles, so they're eating up a lot of tokens. If it's a vehicle that we cover, well, now we're saving them money because they can use those tokens or per use fees on the more exotic cars.
Right.
So, per se.
So they can save all their domestic work for the TopDon, use this for all their basic programming needs, and then move on to the more progressive stuff for the more expensive programmers.
Exactly. Yeah. Good. I mean, that's what this is. That's what this is for.
Okay.
So if you can program, at the price point this is, most locksmiths get their money back in 2 or 3 jobs.
Right. I mean, that sounds like it. Jeez.
Yeah. So it doesn't take much for it to become a profitable investment for them.
It's a great idea because honestly, we have these the locksmith classes we do all the time, and this is one of the better selling units that goes to the newer locksmiths. People looking to upgrade their equipment or just for something to have on the side. This is the go-to unit for sure. Awesome.
You have any other questions on this unit?
I guess we could give us some basic ideas of like battery life, as far as.
Okay. So this doesn't have a battery.
Okay.
It has just a button cell battery for the internal memory, but it's going to power up off of the car.
Okay.
Off the 16-pin connector, so it's going to power right up. Now, if you want to, like right now, you can see I've got it powered up, but I'm not on a car.
Right.
So you're thinking, how would I have it powered up? So I have it powered up through a AC adapter.
All right.
So I have it plugged in. And what is good about that is, if you get a call from a customer and they're asking about a specific vehicle and you want to know the coverage before you actually go out there to the car, you can power it up with the provided AC adapter through this pigtail, just like I've got this set up today. And you can navigate through the menus and look at the vehicle coverage guide. Of course, you can also get to the vehicle coverage guide on our website, but a lot of times it's faster and easier for them to do it just right here on the tool.
And does it require Wi-Fi connectivity, anything to get any work done? Like, do you have to be on the internet to program most vehicles?
No.
Okay, no.
It does not require any. Matter of fact, that's one of the ways we're able to keep the price so affordable.
All right, cool.
Is to not have any network boards in it. It doesn't require any internet connection, where a lot of the tools out there do require that. And even if you have a hotspot, sometimes you're in an area where you don't have very good signal.
I got it where I have a great signal and my devices don't want to work. So that's a good thing to know that you can bypass that. That's great. So
Exactly.
it doesn't require at all for any programming whatsoever. You don't have to be on the internet or have any downloads in the moment. It'll take care of it without all that.
No, we actually use what we call our PC suite
Mm-hmm.
to update this tool.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you go to update it, you'll connect a USB cable into the USB port, plug it into your computer. Now, when you do that, the way the tool recognizes and goes into its USB connect mode is by getting its power from the USB cable. So you want to make sure you have this disconnected.
Okay.
And you're letting your computer power it up. That'll put it in connection mode, and the program will recognize it, and you can download your updates.
Okay, I understand.
Real simple process.
I understand. That's awesome.
All right.
Very cool. Thank you. This is great.
Thank you. UHS has been instrumental in our growth, especially in the locksmith industry, and we really appreciate that. And I know that based on the input that we're getting back from our customers, that UHS provides a good level of support for their customers.
Good to hear, man. Great to hear. Yeah, because we only hear good things about your product, so it's good to hear good things about us from you guys. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. I've been very pleased with our partnership with UHS because you guys have done a tremendous job of spreading the word and letting the customers, locksmiths, and automotive professionals know about TopDon, because that's how we're going to grow.
Yeah.
Is through great partnerships with great companies like yours.
I mean, great products make great partnerships. So
there you go. So those are the type of partnerships that last. So that's what we're looking for.
I know there's other brands that do lots of diagnostics and the TPMS type stuff. What is it about the TopDon products that make them better, in your opinion?
So one of the first things right off the bat is that I think about is our 2 years of updates on our professional line of tools. That gives that adds a value to our tool and actually gets our price at a lot more competitive price than a lot of our competition. We're a big enough company to provide great capabilities, but yet we're still small enough to be able to respond quickly when customers have issues that arise. We have US based tech support, and we put our customers first. Our goal is to provide accurate and timely support because we know time is money.
Yes, it is.
And we understand that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really cool. And anything else about TopDon in general that you want to share? Anything that we need to know coming up for you guys? Any big news? Any big changes or special events happening? Once again, thank you, Charles. Thanks for coming by, hanging out with us here on the first ever episode of UHS Upload. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate the TopDon products. You guys are great. Can't wait to see all the responses we get from this. If you have any questions for TopDon, go ahead and drop them down below in our comment section here. We will get them over to Charles right away. We can talk to anyone over here at the TopDon team. As he said before, they're very responsive, very helpful people. So we have no issue getting in touch with them and coming up with new suggestions from you guys or anyone else. Charles, anything you want to say to the people before you head out?
No, thank you for this time. Give me a holler anytime you want to do this again. For all of the viewers out there, if you need to contact us, in addition to being able to put comments here that will get relayed to us, give us a call, 833-629-4832, and we'll be glad to help you.
Okay, really cool. Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you guys. Go ahead and make sure you like this video, follow along with our channel. Check us out. Check out the TopDon products at uhs-hardware.com. I'm going to have links below for everything that Charles has mentioned in this video. It's been a really great time talking with you. All this stuff has been incredibly interesting. Nothing but the best to you and the best of luck to TopDon. And we'll catch you later, Charles.
All right, we'll catch you later. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Peace.
All right.
Thank you, Charles.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good
one.
Have a good day. Best of luck. Great travels, man.
All right.